Let's go out to the White House now. NewsNation's Kellie Meyer, who joins us there live. So, Kellie, much of the attention now focused on just who is running Venezuela.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're bringing this up, Nichole, because there is still a lot of attention, of course, on Venezuela, what the future looks like there as we watch what's playing out in New York with its leader, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife captured over the weekend by the president. But there is the question here at the White House today as to what the president might do next and what it may look like for other countries that he says are allowing drugs into the U.S., like Colombia he's been looking at as well. But as far as Venezuela, we are hearing the president telling reporters that if they don't behave well, they could see a second strike. He also warned the country's newly reportedly sworn-in president, former vice president, Darcy Rodriguez, that if she doesn't do what's right, she'll pay a big price, probably bigger than Maduro, he said. Now, Rodriguez is changing her tune from Saturday, saying Maduro is the president, to today, saying she is willing to work with President Trump. She wrote in a statement today this, quote, "President Trump, our peoples and our region deserve peace and dialogue, not war. This has always been President Nicolas Maduro's message, and it is the message of all Venezuela right now. This is the Venezuela I believe in and have dedicated my life to. I dream of a Venezuela where all good Venezuelans can come together." Now, looking at the other countries, President Trump also warning to other countries not to allow drugs into the U.S. Colombia's president, Gustavo Petro, said that he has asked the Colombian people to defend him, quote, against any illegitimate violent act. Colombia now has deployed more than 30,000 troops along its border with Venezuela since the strike on Venezuela and capture of Maduro. This is what President Trump told reporters just last night.
Colombia is very sick, too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long?
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans.
Now, you heard there, that's Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, the Republican senator traveling back with President Trump on Air Force One. He says he's looking at Cuba as well. President Trump has said, quote, "Cuba is ready to fall," warning that Havana can no longer rely on Caracas for security and oil. The Cuban government said 32 of its citizens were killed Saturday, and Cuba has long been a vital ally of Venezuela, even providing security for Maduro. Here's what the other side of the aisle is saying about Trump's warnings to other countries. Listen to this.
There are evil, brutal dictators all over the world. That does not give the American president the right to invade those countries, in large part because we have seen how this script plays out.
Nichole, Colombia today is also calling for a meeting of the United Nations Security Council. Nichole.
So, Kellie, what is President Trump saying about Greenland?
Yeah, and this is something that the president has mentioned before in the last year of his second term, that he has eyes on Greenland. He sees it as a national security situation. It's positioned between North America and Europe. It also is mineral rich, but this is something that many Greenlanders, the majority of Greenlanders, do oppose, according to the latest polling. But a majority show strong support for independence from Denmark. We did see this post, which I thought was interesting, from former advisor to Doge and the wife of Stephen Miller, a chief advisor for the president. Katie Miller posted this on X over the weekend with a photo of Greenland covered in the American flag. She wrote, quote, "Soon." I wanted to play a bit of what President Trump had to say about Greenland last night.
I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security.
Now, the premier of Greenland responding to that, saying, quote, "Threats, pressure, and talk of annexation do not belong anywhere between friends. That's not how you talk to a people who have repeatedly shown responsibility, stability, and loyalty. And Greenland also saying that they are open to dialogue with the United States, but it has to be in accordance with international law.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.